Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. And today I'm here to answer a question on my favourite subject of wristwatches, because as ever, it is always my particular joy to try and assist people when they're making a decision or they're seeking a little bit of a nudge from somebody who perhaps has already been down that path before them and can offer some advice. And today I'm going to ask or answer a question from somebody using the name PH1LO. Philo, I think it's meant to say. Anyway, Philo's written to me and said, I have two Datejust 41s on order on the waiting list in an authorised dealer. I hope to get either the smooth green dial or the blue Motif dial. Both will be on Jubilee bracelet, as they should be. I wanted to ask what configuration will hold its value the best. This is my first move into the Rolex world, and the reason I want to go for the model that will hold its most value is because I want to be able to trade it in for the next Rolex. Maybe I'm thinking too far in advance, but I'd like to get a good few years of wear out of this watch and be able to return it to the AD to move up in the professional range. I'm hoping by then there may be a smaller Submariner. A couple of points to answer there. So first of all, Philo is saying that he's got two watches on order at the AD. The blue Motif dial, which is actually a very beautiful Rolex. I've seen that one many times myself. It's a nice piece. And then the what you refer to as the smooth green dial is the mint dial. So the mint sort of sunburst dial, which came out, I think, probably 2 years ago now, which really has been a big success for Rolex, both in the 41mm size, both on the Jubilee bracelet, and I'm going to make the assumption you also mean both with the fluted bezel opposed to the smooth bezel. First of all, I would say both of these watches, there's no wrong answer, all right? You're not going to go wrong if you're buying these to have a lived experience with the Datejust, because I think either of these watches is a perfect entry point into the Rolex world. In fact, both of these watches are highly sought after, and a little bit of research tells me that they are selling considerably above their retail price. In fact, both of these watches sell for the same retail price from Rolex, and that is 8,800 British pounds. However, a little bit of research tells me that on Chrono 24, the blue dial currently sells for between 12 and 13,000 pounds on the secondary market, and the mint dial roughly the same but a little bit more. So the mint being more, well, I think they both came out at roughly the same time, but the mint green always seems to flourish well in the Rolex world, and it's kind of a little bit of trendy colour at the moment. So both of them, you know, you're going to do well. If you can get either of these watches at retail price, you're secure in the knowledge that the watch, I don't think, is going to lose money. Now, when it comes to making money, that's a different matter entirely, because I think you should never purchase a Rolex watch with the thought that it's going to go up in value, because you can't tell. I mean, there's a lot of fluctuation in the watch world at the moment, but typically speaking, if you're able to buy a stainless steel Rolex watch in an attractive and sought after dial variation, you're probably going to be safe. It's unlikely you're going to lose money. You're only going to get into the danger category where you start buying, say, two-tone watches or gold watches, because these, even though they cost more money to purchase, they're less likely, oh, it's my cat, hi girl, less likely to retain their money in the long term. They may even, you know, lose a bit of value after you've purchased it. But either way, they're very good. Certainly these two watches are very attractive. And I would say as well, with the Datejust, they are amazing watches too. Let's put that to one side, a little bit windy. They are both amazing watches as well. I'm wearing one right now. I'm wearing a 36mm Datejust, and I'll just revisit that for you. I'll just get my phone on the camera setting. Hopefully it's not too bad on the lighting conditions here. But here's my little Datejust. Now this is the blue configuration. Apologies for the the reflection on the dial. As you know, Rolex do not put anti sort of reflection material on their watches, but here you see that the smooth blue dial, as you would describe it. This is very much the same as the mint version, but just with the blue variation. And as you can see, pretty straightforward piece. The sunburst dial, it's not particularly looking its best right now. I tell you what, I'll step over. Luckily I've got a radio microphone on. I'll just step over to the sunlight, if I may, in my garden, and there you go. You can see a little bit more of the beauty of this watch and why it's those sunburst dials are very much the ones you like. And as you can see, my watch has actually got what they call the roulette wheel on it. I think this has been discontinued now. And you can see the date window. Today's the 19th of July, and you can see that the 19 is in red. Now the red numbers on this particular watch come out when it is odd numbered days. On an even numbered day, so yesterday being the 18th, the numerals for the date would have been in black, but you know, on odd days they're red, and it's quite nice. I rather like the red. It adds a nice little injection of colour to the blue dial. So the sunburst dial, very nice. One thing I would say about the Datejust, and I often hear this, I had a question from somebody the other day. They were looking to buy a Datejust and they were interested in an oyster bracelet and a smooth bezel. Now for me, the Datejust was introduced in 1945, and it was introduced with the Jubilee bracelet. All right, the Jubilee came out in 45 for the introduction of the Datejust, and I think the Jubilee bracelet is an absolutely exquisite bracelet. It is comfortable, it is very heavily articulated with 5 individual pieces within each sort of link, so it fits the wrist like a glove, and it looks stylish and elegant on the Datejust. Absolutely does. And to my mind, and I'm going to be honest, I know I'm being a little bit, you know, one-sided perhaps because I own this particular watch, but the fluted bezel, it really is what the Datejust is all about. If you have a Datejust with a smooth bezel, my question to you would be, why didn't you just buy an Explorer and save yourself a bit of money? Because it's all about the fluted bezel. Now this is a roller saw model, so that means that the bezel, the fluting on the bezel, those little facets are picked out in white gold. So the bezel is made of white gold and catches the light, and it is one of the joys of the Datejust. Let me get back into my seat where you can see me on the other camera. You can see how the actual dial changes colour, you know, as it comes into different lighting situations. But yeah, it's a beautiful watch actually, the old Datejust. Often underrated in my opinion. People do not give it the credit that it deserves. It's often these days thought of as a dress watch, but actually of course it's 100 meters water resistant with a screw down crown. It's got the same capability entirely as, you know, the Air King or the Explorer or these other watches which are in the sort of professional range. I wouldn't hesitate to buy a Datejust as my one and done watch and take it into the world and subject it to everything that the world has got to throw at it. It is as adventurous a watch as many of the other professional range watches out there, but it seems to fly under the radar. And it's classic and elegant, and it can easily be worn with a suit, as it can, certainly in the stainless steel configuration, as it can be worn with your swim shorts on the beach. Now, Philo there says he hopes one day to trade it in the hope that Rolex will release a smaller Submariner. I'm going to be honest with you, Philo, I do not think we will ever see that day happen. More likelihood is the Submariner is going to stay the same size configuration as it is today. I mean, we've seen it get a little bigger in recent years, going from 40 millimeters up to 41. Technically, they're roughly the same size, but you know, it's theoretically gone up 1 millimeter. If it's a smaller watch that you seek because you have a smaller wrist, I would suggest maybe the Tudor Black Bay 54, 37 millimeters, or maybe the Black Bay 58 at 39 millimeters. These may be alternatives which are more suitable for a smaller wrist. But then again, if you're buying a Datejust in a 41 millimeter, you're already getting into a fairly large wrist presence watch. So hopefully whatever you go for will be a good fit for you. So there we go. I hope you found that of some use. If you did, give the video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, subscribe. If you'd like to support the channel, you can buy me a coffee or become a patron. And I make additional video content for my patrons every single week. And to find out more about that, have a look in the show notes below, pop along to the Patreon page and see what we've got going on over there. So until the next time, as ever, wear your watches with pride and passion, and I will see you again very soon.